In a previous video, we talked about real numbers and the types of numbers that fall into that category. Today we're going to be talking about adding those types of numbers together, and we have two rules that we need to remember. One deals with numbers that have the same sign, and so when that happens, we're going to follow our blue rule. We will be adding those numbers together and then taking the sign of the biggest number. Now notice these quotation marks that I've got right here. When I say biggest, I'm not talking about value mathematically. I'm talking about when you have a conversation with a kindergartner and you ask them what the biggest number they see is, the answer they give you is what we're going to be looking for today. So let's take a look at this first example here. I see that I've got positive 2 plus positive 6. I'm going to add those together. That gives me 8. Now if I ask that kindergartner which one was bigger, 2 or 6, they're going to tell me 6. Since the 6 is positive, we're going to make our answer positive and then we'll be done. So our answer will be positive 8 for this first one. For our second example, we have a negative 2 and a negative 6. Their signs are the same, so we add those up. 2 plus 6 is 8, and since the kindergartner would tell us that 6 is bigger than 2, 6 is negative. That means we make our answer negative, and our answer will be negative 8. Pretty simple, nothing too complex. Same thing basically happens when we're talking about signs that are different, but the difference in this rule from the first one is that now we are going to be subtracting those numbers, and then we'll take the sign of the biggest number. And again, we've got that quotation marks right there, so we're talking to a kindergartner when we're talking about biggest. Okay, this next example we've got negative 2 plus 6. We're subtracting those. 6 minus 2, that's 4. The kindergartner says, ooh, 6 is bigger, 6 is positive, so is our answer, positive 4. Now we have a 2 plus negative 6 in the last example. We're subtracting again. 6 minus 2 is 4, but 6 is the bigger number according to that little kid, and since 6 is negative, we're going to make our answer negative, negative 4. Let's take a look at a few different examples here. I've added the rules as a reference over here on the side so that we can see these. Let's do this first one together. I have negative 5 plus negative 6. That rule, since both of them are negatives, will be the blue one over here. The signs are the same, so that tells me that we are going to be adding them together. So 5 plus 6, that gives me 11. Now the kindergartner would tell us that 6 is bigger, 6 is negative here. My answer is also going to be negative. Alright, let's take a look at this next one. This next one's different because I have different signs. I have a positive 13 and a negative 34. That is our green rule. We're going to be subtracting those numbers. So in a calculator or in my head or off to the side of my paper, I'm going to say 34 minus 13, and that gives me the number 21. Now the kindergartner says 34, that's my biggest number, so I'm going to take that negative sign and I'm going to throw it onto my answer. I want you to try this third example. Figure out which rule you're going to have to use and then go ahead and follow those rules and get your answer. My answer is 13.1. And let's see how we did that. I see that I have a positive 3.4 and a positive 9.7. I add those together according to the blue rule, and I take the sign of the biggest number, which is the 9.7. So 13.1 is going to be positive. Do the same thing with example 4. Choose your rule, work it out, pause the video so that you can make sure that you can get the right answer before I reveal it. This time we had to use the green rule because our signs were different, so that means that we are subtracting those numbers. 3.4 minus 1.5 gives us 1.9, and because 3.4 is the larger number, we're going to make 1.9 positive just like it. That will do it for the adding real numbers video. If you have any questions, make sure that you're asking them in class, and we will see you there.